India's recent situation can be described as internal and external troubles. The domestic epidemic is getting worse, and the number of deaths and new cases continues to rise. There are frictions with Russia abroad. Not long ago, India's current Prime Minister Modi said that he would deal with Russia. This statement shocked the world. It seems that India, with the support of the big brother America, seems to have gradually forgotten its true level. A country like India can bully small countries around it, but it is obviously a bit of a pretense to want to deal with a big country like Russia. What's more, India now has a large number of weapons and equipment imported from Russia. Since India is so dependent on Russia, why would they be so? Why did Russia say this? Actually, Russia has always relied on India's dependence on it and gained a lot of benefits from them. So what benefits did Russia get from India? Everything here starts with the history between the two countries. New friends, remember to follow us and keep reading. In 19, the Soviet Union was facing disintegration, which led to a large number of Cold War weapons flowing around the world. Not to mention anything else, there were as many as 9 aircraft carriers, one of which was the Gorshkov aircraft carrier, which was sold exclusively to India. Later, it was modified and upgraded to become India's Vikramaditya aircraft carrier. It was because of this aircraft carrier that India was cheated of $200 million by Russia. In fact, Russia said that this aircraft carrier was given to India, but India was required to pay $970 million for the modification of the aircraft carrier. Later, Russia asked to increase the price of the modification of the aircraft carrier. After some discussion between the two sides, the modification fee of the aircraft carrier was set at $200 million. The reason given by Russia was that it underestimated the difficulty of the modification of the aircraft carrier. In fact, Russia had planned to sell the aircraft carrier at a high price long ago. Before this incident happened, the Soviet Union had not yet disintegrated. Everyone knows that at that time, the United States and the Soviet Union were in the Cold War. In order to fight against the capitalist countries led by the United States, the Soviet Union won over India, which was still strong at the time and was determined to help India develop its national strength. First, the Soviet Union established in India more than 10 iron ore plants were built to restore India's industrial base, and India was given a large amount of money and weapons and equipment. This aid lasted until 19. When the Soviet Union was on the verge of disintegration, the Soviet Union had provided India with tens of billions of yuan in aid. It can be said that India was much more important to the Soviet Union at that time than China. But in reality, it was just the opposite. China has now developed into a world power, while India has not yet solved the problem of food for its people. Before the disintegration of the Soviet Union, India had lent India $1.6 billion in military funds. So after the disintegration of the Soviet Union, this account should be returned to Russia. India saw an opportunity at this time. At that time, the Soviet Union had just disintegrated and the various political systems fell into economic paralysis. In addition, the sanctions imposed by the United States on Russia caused Russia's economy to fall into a slump. The ruble depreciated quite seriously, so India took advantage of the depreciation of the ruble to exchange the money for foreign exchange. This behavior of India is indeed unauthentic and a typical behavior of adding insult to injury. Russia is very angry about this behavior of India, but anger can only be angry. Russia's national strength at that time was quite weak and could not impose sanctions on India, so they could only swallow this bitter fruit and unwillingly accept India's repayment. Because of this, Russia and India have a grudge. After Russia recovered a little, they began to plan to pit India. The first is the 200 million-mile aircraft carrier incident mentioned above. The Gorshkov is actually a very old model. At that time, many Soviet aircraft carriers were steam-driven. This old aircraft carrier was scrapped after only 7 years of service in the Soviet Union. Russia naturally would not spend money to repair this old alley, but if it was left there, it would be a waste. So Russia wanted to find a sucker to sell it. At this time, India naturally became Russia's first target. At this time, India also continued to acquire weapons and equipment for its own dream of becoming a great power. Russia first, they told India that they would give them an aircraft carrier for free. India was naturally very happy when they heard this, but before they could be happy, Russia spoke again. This aircraft carrier was a retired aircraft carrier. If I give it to you, you can't use it because some parts are damaged and need to be repaired before you can use it. As long as you pay the repair fee, I will repair it and send it to you. India privately moved its own abacus and thought it was quite cost-effective, so it signed a contract. The two parties agreed on a repair fee of $970 million. Russia will complete the transformation and repair of the aircraft carrier within 4 years. After that, Russia proposed a package service to India and sold the matching carrier-based aircraft to India at a low price. India, thinking it was getting a bargain, immediately a new contract was signed. This contract was worth $1.5 billion. But as the delivery date approached, the Gorshkov was basically the same as it was 4 years ago. At this time, Russia said that it underestimated the difficulty of repairing the aircraft carrier. The money given before was used for repairs. India was asked to pay more. India also understood that Russia was clearly playing rogue, but they had no choice. If they didn't pay, the previous $1.5 billion would be wasted. So India could only grit its teeth and pay. In the end, the Gorshkov was repaired for about 10 years, costing India a total of $200 million before it was driven home. This time, Russia avenged its previous revenge. After that, due to the military constraints of Russia, India needed to continue in the import of weapons from Russia. Russia is also constantly pitting India. When Russia just developed the Su-30, it sold it to India before it was sure of the performance of the aircraft, and let India test its performance for itself. To put it bluntly, Russia treated India as a guinea pig. Not only can it make money, but it can also let India test the performance of the aircraft. This is simply a cost-effective deal. In recent years, India still spends the highest price to buy 10 or so not advanced equipment from Russia. When Russia sold the S-40 air defense system to India, the price was more than double the price sold to China. India clearly knew that it was not cost-effective, but it did not do anything. For so many years, India has also thought about changing a country to import weapons and equipment, but at present, in the world, besides Russia, there is the United States, and the weapons of the United States are 2 or 3 times higher than those of Russia. The main reason why India was pitted by Russia is that its military industry is too weak. From ancient times to the present, India has been supported by the 2 major powers in the world, which has made it lose the ability to independently develop weapons and equipment. The most common tank needs to be studied for 30 to 40 years. The fighter jets they independently developed also frequently crashed, so they had to turn to Russia for help. In addition, India has been using Russian weapons for many years. Military equipment is also matched. From maintenance personnel to technicians, these have inherited the genes of Russia. It will take a long time to change these. It is difficult to do. Russia has seized India's weakness and will continue to bully it. Who made India ungrateful and add insult to injury? Russia's behavior is understandable. Recently, the conflict between Russia and India has also shown signs of eruption. Because the two countries have long-term close military relations and have mutual garrison agreements, India has signed agreements with the United States and other Western countries while cooperating with Russia, agreeing that their fleets can use their ports. This may have violated Putin's bottom line, so Russia will strengthen cooperation with Pakistan. However, India and Pakistan have been old rivals for many years. Russia's behavior has made India dissatisfied. At this time, the relationship between the two countries may only have one layer left. The relationship is always in danger of breaking up, but with the current strength of the two countries, Russia is obviously not afraid of India. The worst-case scenario is that it will not earn their money. From the grievances between the two countries, we can also see that a country must not rely on others. It must have the ability to independently develop equipment so that it will not be led by others. Fortunately, our country has not been able to do this since ancient times. After decades of hard work, we have achieved all-round independent research and development. Now we have to strengthen this aspect and strive to become the world's #1 power. Well, this video ends here. What do you think about this? Welcome to leave a message below to discuss us. See you in the next video.